Hey, happy Thursday. I think it's really important to have this conversation because it's there's so much noise in the food and nutrition industry, and it's easy to get lost. So, what I wanted to discuss is everything around nutrition today. It's pretty much all bullshit. And I'm going to see if I can put into words my thoughts on this because I've been in, I'm going to say the nutrition industry since my early 20s. I've always had a draw towards nutrition and kind of the psychology of our behaviors and like how to eat properly, the macros and calories, I got deep into the science side of it. And then I started to get into the spiritual side of it. The emotional and spiritual dynamics are intuitive guidance. And over the years, so I say I've been dabbling in self-study and, well, not even just self-study. I was a personal trainer. I was taught many different certifications while I worked at Lifetime Fitness, Snap Fitness, Anytime Fitness. I've had an array of different teachers. And then I've done certification programs. I studied under Dr. Morse in the International School of Detox to become a regenerative detox specialist. And there's a couple reasons I don't go by that title currently, because I've brought many different dynamics of things that I've learned and I've let myself dabble with and bring in some kind of my own niche of what I believe very strongly around our wellness, nutrition, supplementation, holistic wellness, self-healing dynamics, energy healing, movement practices, just the crux of what I believe so strongly in. So I don't like taking the title of a specific certification program I've done with nutrition because I don't stick firmly to those beliefs necessarily or what a person who is under that title has. So anyways, in the nutrition industry, I see a cycle. And like I said, I first stepped into the nutrition and wellness industry about 15 years ago when I first became a personal trainer, and then I was getting coached and taught by many different people in Lifetime Fitness. That's where I got the initial foundation of what I was learning. And they were saying, they were kind of coaching us in the most, what they taught was what they considered the forefront of nutrition at the time. So they say. So, and then I always had been a person who's questioned what I'm taught, pushed the boundaries of what's commonly accepted in mainstream. So basically, like, if something's commonly accepted as what's true, then I always push beyond that to study further of the gaps in those beliefs, I guess you could say. And there's a little bit of my own rebellion in that, but also I now see the kind of intuition I've had guided in me for a long time that I didn't really realize it was an intuitive guidance. of noticing the gaps and the little agendas or hidden shadows of these mainstream belief systems, or what's commonly accepted as normal or the commonly accepted truths. So that held in my nutrition work as well. So I've dabbled in a large variety of different diets. Not dieting in terms of like weight loss. I've never been one to believe that dieting is good for you, ever. I don't ever believe a diet, like a temporary diet for weight loss, is ever beneficial for you. And that was a belief I had held very early on in my personal training. So I never coached people as a trainer or nutrition coach for weight loss. I never coached calorie counting or macro counting or any of that stuff because I knew intuitively that that wasn't aligned with our true being, you could say. But I didn't always know why. It just didn't feel right for me to do that stuff. I'd done it when I was a little younger, but I was tapping into something else in my mid-20s, which is when I started training and coaching, that I couldn't really put words to at the time. It was just kind of the gut instincts. So at that time, I did grasp into kind of the high protein diet trend of the time, which was more paleo. There was one before that. I think before paleo, I don't know if it necessarily had a name. And then after that, I got deeper into veganism. And then I came back into more omnivorous eating. And I was on a high protein diet when I got pregnant with my first son. And how things played out in that first pregnancy is what also drew me into a new rabbit hole, which is regenerative nutrition. And that is fruit-based herbal support to cleanse, remove obstructions, clean out the colon, clean out the digestive system in order to renew your body at a cellular level, to regenerate your cells, to bring deep healing that your body is innately capable of doing. It's not based off of what you're eating or how you're eating. It is the depth of our being with the capacity to heal itself. So stripping our nutrition down to a really base level, which fruit-based is the most simple, nourishing way to eat that allows a full cleansing and regenerative process to happen, because fruits are the most easily absorbable and nourishing and gentle for our digestive system. And if you want to go a step beyond that, you can do fruit feasting, which is just using one fruit and only eating that for a period of time, juice fasting, or water fasting. And they're like stages where you can go into a depth of deep healing. And often people are brought into that type of nutritional protocol when you're dealing with some sort of illness. If you're having symptoms of any kind that an allopathic doctor would label as a certain disease or an issue, or even they can't diagnose it and they don't have much solution and they just put you on medicines. Often these people who don't get the solutions from allopathy end up in this type of nutritional detox because it's their last option or last resort. But in the end, it becomes that full body healing and regeneration that they've been searching for, that we are fully capable of. And then it begins to cascade into this deep emotional and spiritual transformation process, an awakening that we didn't expect to happen. It's an awakening because Rudolf Steiner speaks to this as well. When you purify the body, purifying your body means cleansing it of obstructions and illness and poison. And that's what regenerative nutrition does. So purifying your body from a core level, at a cellular level, allows your energy to move freely throughout your body. And then that almost activates a really powerful consciousness shifting awakening process. And it's one that once you go down, once you begin going into that and start to see the effects that this type of protocol offers you, you don't go back usually to eating the way that you did prior. So you might not enter a nutritional healing like a regenerative nutrition with fruit-based eating with the intention of never eating meat or dairy animal products again, because it is required for you to eliminate that from your diet in order to allow this type of cleansing, this detoxification process to unfold. It is a natural process in your body. We are built for detoxification, but because of the levels of toxic food, poison, environmental exposures, chemical crap in our household, and obstructive eating, it puts a stress on our digestive system and kidneys, and it stagnates our lymphatic system. And over time, it builds up so much. We have a daily toxic load that we can naturally detoxify from our body. That's our natural detox. But because of the amount of the load that most of us take on, because of our environment and the food sources we see today, vaccines are some part of it too. Our medicines that we get, there's so much sulfur and other additives in allopathic medicines that add to that toxic overload. And we're so far over that threshold of our ability to detox that it builds up even more over time. So say 10, 20, 30 years, 40 years old, all of a sudden your body starts breaking down and so stagnant, you start having kidney issues and digestive issues and liver issues, and you don't know where it's all coming from. And a doctor is going to focus on those little areas without acknowledging the greater picture of your body. And that is the point of a regenerative detox. It's not about what you eat necessarily. It's not really a belief system of how or what you're eating, of this battle of what we see in the nutrition world of what's the best diet, what's the perfect diet, should you eat this, should you eat that. In the end, if we come, all of us, if every single person would come to this type of cleansing process and know that the intention is to purify your body and then begin to introduce the foods back in, your choices will change dramatically. And then it doesn't become a mind game of what's the best diet or the most ethical diet or the most holistic diet or the most macro conscious diet or calorie. It doesn't become the mind micromanaging your food. It's intuitive. It becomes heart-centered, body-centered, feeling-centered. because then you become aware of how foods react, how you respond to the foods. Because let's be real, over time, when you eat a certain way that is not good for us, you actually dull your symptoms. And then you get to a point where the disease is so progressed. And then you can't pinpoint anymore one particular thing that caused that disease, because it wasn't one particular thing that caused that disease. It was 20 years of the diet that you've been having and how that has begun to break down your body from the inside. And then we see the kidney stones and the stomach issues and the constipation and the GERD and reflux issues and asthma and sinus issues. All of this is related to how we're eating and what we're exposed to. So I see this cycle of nutrition, coming back to my initial point of this video, was seeing, I keep seeing this debate, because I have a variety of friends on my Facebook and Instagram on both spectrums of people who are avid vegans and people who are avid carnivores right now. So I see both sides of the spectrum, and I understand both sides of the spectrum. I get where people are coming from. I really do. I've been the meat-based person, and I've been the vegan person, and I've been the in-betweener, and I've been the everything in moderation. I don't care. Which, don't do that, please, because that's actually not ideal. Anyways, I've been along the spectrum of nutrition and different ways of eating. And it's not about where the perfect diet is. It's not about proving right and wrong of what's the proper way that humans are supposed to eat. Because in the end, it's not about the mind managing it. It's about the body feeling it. And when we all come back to, I think every single person on the planet, regardless of what your belief system in terms of whether you should eat animal products or not, doesn't really matter. Every single person should undergo some sort of regenerative detox protocol and purify your body and then begin reintroducing foods. Because if you do that, you're going to put yourself on a pathway that is so intuitively guided and grounded in your body that it doesn't become a game of the mind of what's the best way to eat. Your body will tell you. And before you can get to the point of your body telling you, you have to backpedal and do the purification process first. Because if you just try to if you just try to go back and listen to your body, you can still be stuck in trauma response eating, emotional eating, cravings that are related to like parasites and funguses, and we're feeding into the disease that is still in your body, whether that be physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual. So to be able to properly listen to your body and let it intuitively guide you to what is ideal for your body to eat, that purification program, that purification process needs to be done first. And I can say I've gone back and forth many times. I first did the purifying, the regenerative detox before I got pregnant with my second son. I was 100% fruit for 3 or 4 months probably before I got pregnant. Often when you do that, if you've had troubles with pregnancy, you're going to cleanse your body. And this is why I'm so big on purifying for pregnancy, especially if you're having fertility issues, if you've had miscarriages, if you have trouble getting pregnant. birth controls and all sorts of things are harming your reproductive system. So to do a detox program, you're going to help yourself be able to get pregnant. Because I got pregnant a lot faster than I planned to. And it was pretty quickly as I got into this program where my body just easily got pregnant. So, and then after that, it was hard for me to maintain a fruit-based diet during that pregnancy because my mind got into craving mode because I still had many little emotional triggers and I was having issues in my marriage. So there was many underlying factors in my second and third pregnancy. There was underlying issues that I still had going on that I had not addressed. So I kind of went back into eating meats and junk foods and then I got divorced. And only recently in the last year or so have I fully come back around to a regenerative nutrition routine and eating fruit-based again, because I know that that's what's best for my body. And I know that's what makes me feel best. And I can see the symptoms of illness when I don't eat that way. And I've been doing my own herbal and fruit-based protocols. Enemas is a really important one too, because if your colon is congested, you're sick. Period. So if you're constipated, then your body is sick. I remember reading a book a long time ago. I don't even remember the book. I think it was called like The Green Cleanse or something like that. And it was, that same sentiment was written in a couple other books that I read on raw food nutrition too, and some holistic wellness books. I have like so many different books on nutrition, not all in agreement either, many different varying viewpoints. That's why I said I take what I feel is appropriate or what resonates with me the most. And that has rung so true for me personally. And I can see how that rings very true to the idea of if your colon is congested, your body is sick. I have had many issues with that myself all through my 20s. And now as I'm starting to address that, I see how it's helping me heal. My teeth actually are part of it. And now, as I'm seeing certain things heal in my own body, it's fascinating to use myself as an experiment. And that's actually part of why I haven't gotten my tooth fixed yet, because there's certain regenerative properties that I'm noticing taking place as I start doing these detoxes more. And enemas have been a big part of it, because the toxicity of your stomach and your colon and digestive tract relates directly to your head and the congestion in your head. And I've had chronic sinusitis for my whole life. And now as I started doing these ways of enemas and juice fasting and I eat a lot of watermelon too. Dinner. Watermelon is one of the best ways to cleanse your body if you want to just help cleanse digestively. Watermelon has been a huge source for me. But as I do those things, that I notice my body cleaning out the digestive tract in my colon, the entire bowel system, it cleans my sinuses at the same time. It's really interesting. And I notice a link along the top of my jaw where my teeth are. And these teeth, my top teeth in particular, are the ones that I've had the most issue with. And there's regenerative, it's hard that I can't show in a video, but there's cellular regeneration that's happening on my teeth. And I strongly feel there's a connection between the sinus congestion and the deterioration of my top teeth. And it's an interesting thing when you analyze these things from a personal experience. because you can read things in books all you want. But until you experience it firsthand and kind of experiment with yourself, it doesn't always click. And sometimes you're going to come up with a different conclusion than what you think you want to believe or what a book tells you is true. And go with that. And let your instincts guide you as well. It's not always one way right or wrong, or like one truth to anything. So nutrition isn't that black or white. And that's why we see so much variance in how people eat and different nutrition guidances. But all in all, I keep seeing this cycle of nutrition trends that come up, because I'm seeing trends that happened when I first got in personal training 15 years ago. And those same trends are kind of cycling back around right now with different names. Like paleo coming around, we had keto, and then we have carnivore. And there's just little variances in like macros or calories or whatever. But it's the same cycle of concepts. And the vegan trend is right along with it. And I see the shadows in both of them, because I don't think it's one way or the other. And I see the shadows underneath the agendas when we see them kind of popularized. Once you start to see something popularized to that extent, no matter which kind of group of people take it on, start to look at the shadows underneath it. Because there are layers underneath these trends. And it can be personal and individual for you of what that shadow means for you. But there are shadows with all of them. And it doesn't necessarily mean one way. It doesn't really negate the concepts of the diets either, or the way of eating. It doesn't mean that this side is all wrong, that side is all right. Because I still stand with I've always had a vegan mind, in terms of I was never one who had an easy time with eating animals. Because I'm very animal and humanitarian conscious, but like I was raised on eating meat and animal products. My dad hunted my dad's always hunted. My ex-husband was a hunter. I grew up with hunters. So that was normal for me. And I actually always loved venison. That was my favorite meat. So, and my family is a traditional family in terms of meat and potatoes, side of veggies. So I was never raised in like a vegan or even vegetarian ideal. I just didn't question it. But then once I became on my own, just the idea of buying meat, where it came from, as I found more about farming, factories, the way animals are slaughtered, just all of the things pressed at my heart a little bit more. So as I explored fruit-based eating, it became very clear to me, and I strongly believe, that we are designed to eat fruits primarily. And does that mean you're a bad person or you're wrong for eating animal products? No. I still occasionally eat animal products. I'm just very aware of where they come from. But still conscious of the impact that those foods can have on not only the environment, but the animal you're taking from. And just when we can be intentional and understand the impact of how we eat, then we can kind of ground a little deeper in our body and think about if that's how we want to live. And if that's the impact we want to leave on the planet. And I feel like that's also where this purification process will take you. Because I really do not see nutrition from the surface anymore. I'm just like, what's the best diet? Cut calories, this way or this. Like, it's not a black and white thing. I feel it so much deeper on like an emotional and spiritual level. It's not about the mind micromanaging you. It's feeling based. And to get to that point, to get to the feeling based, intuitive eating, you got to purify your body first. And that takes time. And if you are dealing with any type of, let's say, diagnosed disease that you're struggling with, I can guarantee you that doing this type of purification program will give you amazing results. Because I feel like it's the most spiritually aligned way of allowing our innate ability to self-heal to happen. Because I am a firm believer that our bodies are a self-regulating ecosystem, really. An organism that is able to heal itself and regulate itself. But it needs the proper environment to do that. And it can't do that when you're sick, congested, constipated, and eating in a way that dulls your energy, your frequency. Because that's another part of eating, is eating in vibrancy, eating in energy. And a lot of heavy foods are dulling and heavy in your body. And often those heavy foods, meats, grains, breads, like lots of pastas, lots of meats, lots of rices. Potatoes actually are quite a heavy food, even though it's a vegetable. There is a grounding effect that has on your body. So there's addictive behaviors that actually cause us to eat in those ways too, because it offers a grounding in your body. If you are kind of escaping your reality, the addictive eating patterns go really unnoticed for many of us, especially in the mainstream. And the addictive behaviors in nutrition are so prominent in America in particular. Emotionally and mentally, we're so addicted to the high of food, the grounding effect of food, the escapism that we can get with food. So if we still notice ourselves feeding into that type of behavior, purification, purifying your body, cleansing, will really help in purging so much of that out. And not only the physical benefits that offers, it then will be the gateway to walk you into a deeper emotional and spiritual journey. Because as you start to clear the physicality out of your body, it pulls the emotional, the energetic blocks in your body as well. Because you work backwards. The physical is the final manifestation. It begins in the spirit. Your illness begins in the spiritual body. Goes to emotional, mental, physical. So then as you start to cleanse, you're working backwards. So you're starting in cleansing in the physical. Then it comes back to the mental, and then the emotional, and then the spiritual. So that's where you start to pull up a lot of these emotional traumas, mental traumas that have been stuck in your body for a while. That's probably the hardest part, that barrier of the emotional and mental baggage that comes up in your purifying process. But I'm going to leave it at that. This ended up much longer than I planned. That always happens. But if you have questions, if you want some help, guidance in getting started in a purification program, you can message me here. You can email me at wildmotherawakening@gmail.com. I'll put a link below as I post this. I think the link will be up in my profile as well. But this is something I feel so strongly that women need to concentrate on more and more when it comes to pregnancy in particular. Because when we see these issues come up in pregnancy, it's often issues that were already in your body slowly manifesting before pregnancy. And being pregnant actually activates a certain detox of the body, preparing to grow your baby, preparing to help the baby develop. So those symptoms will rise stronger. It becomes prominent, much more prominent in your body. And that's why we see things like gestational diabetes and preeclampsia so commonly, because those are issues that were already in your body prior to being pregnant. So those are things that really need to be addressed after your pregnancy, because you don't want to detox while you're pregnant. But there are ways to support and nourish your body with herbal. And herbal support, dandelion tea, nettle tea are two must-haves, in particular for preeclampsia and GD. But yeah, after your pregnancies, I highly encourage you to look into regenerative healing, nutrition, contact me. And I really feel like that can shift not only our physical capacity in birth, but that will awaken our primal instincts that much more. That purification process is going to really awaken that embodiment and sovereign, that primal instinct and the sovereignty that we all want and desire and feel in our bones, but don't always know how to access it. So that's the pathway to the true, embodied birth, is purifying the body first. And then it starts to unfold in its own way after that. So, I'm going to leave it at that. Love you guys.